Hey guys and girls, welcome back to Heiko's Garage. It's time for me to get to the next level in my watch repair hobby and leave the battery changes and the cleanups behind. And today we're gonna disassemble a watch. And I've listened to my YouTube heroes, Marshall, Mike, and Mark, who on their channels always advocate for starting with a pocket watch. So I got myself a inexpensive $30 eBay purchase. This one here in front of you. I can't quite date it yet. I haven't found any markings on the movement on the watch. It has a Montgomery Ward company symbol in there. Montgomery Ward was a mail order business, kind of like Sears. They started in 1872. And then later on, they turned into a department store chain, and they closed up shop in 2001. So they have been in business for a long time. And then I heard that this company name, at least in some shape or form, was revived as an online store in 2004. I just looked that up. There is actually a webpage for Montgomery Ward. They sold everything. I actually own a rototiller, which is a backyard digging implement made by Montgomery Ward, or sold by Montgomery Ward, I should say. So they sold everything from an anvil to pocket watches, obviously. This pocket watch here, it's in working order. So if I wind it up, it actually runs. It doesn't run for very long. So there is definitely something going on. And this one is really the cheapest of cheap pocket watches that you can buy. Of course, it has a plastic or acrylic crystal. And you're going to see a party trick of this here. It looks like really yellow dial, but the dial is actually white, and the yellow comes from a very yellowed crystal. We'll see if we replace this or if we can maybe polish it up a little bit. So it's actually in really decent shape. The back of the watch here, pretty simple. You know, it's complete. I've opened up the back just to take a look if I can find any stamp dates, or maybe even who the manufacturer of the movement was. Here at the very bottom of the dial, it's barely readable. It actually says made in USA. Montgomery Ward compensated. It's a no jewel watch. So it's a very, very simple movement. And we're just gonna get started. So let me get some finger cords on. Reason why I'm putting finger cords on even during disassembly is the dial here on this side has a huge fingerprint on it. So someone already had this apart back in the days and left their evidence on the dial. Some of those really inexpensive pocket watches back in the days, they had paper dials, or they had a metal dial with a paper advertisement on top. So they would have like a design printed on paper, and then they would just glue that paper on the dial. And I'm not sure what this is, but we're going to find out. So I'm just going to get ready, and then we're going to disassemble this watch. Hey guys, real quick here on my phone. I didn't want to rip the Montgomery Ward pocket watch apart before I put it on the time grapher, so I gave it a good wind. And my time grapher definitely has some issues here. So 18,000 beats, and it constantly loses the pickup. I've already changed the position here in the mount a few different directions. It's not picking it up. So as you just saw on the time grapher, there's definitely still life left in this watch. But if it's just the watch itself that my time grapher has a problem with picking up. But yeah, definitely something going wrong. So now we, of course, have some wind in here. So I have to remember when we disassemble this to release the power out of the mainspring. So let's start working on this. Believe it or not, for this watch, we will actually need a pair of pliers. This little latch here that holds a little pin in place. And this is so stiff that I cannot make this move with my tweezers even if I want to, and therefore I have this tiny little pair of pliers. Let's see if we can turn this and then get the crown out. And so we turn this 90 degrees. Let's zoom in a little bit. So now you can see this little pin here, and that little pin is the one that holds the winding stem in place. If I flip this over, it will most likely slide out, or maybe not. We might have to grab it somehow. Nope. Yep, here we have the crown and winding stem out. So now we can flop this off here. I think we can. Maybe we can't. Okay. So there it is. Oh yeah, and I wanted to show you. So if we have a white piece of paper, let's put this over here real quick. White piece of paper. Put the crystal on there. You can see where the white color is coming from. I mean, the dial here is in pretty bad shape. There is lots of discoloration, all those little leopard spots over here, and then the big fingerprint on here, which is pretty sad. All right, so let's try to take the hands off. So I'm gonna try to insert the winding stem here one more time. I'm gonna push down the little locking pin here, if I can. It's definitely pretty floppy here. First, you can't pull it out. It's resisting extraction. There you go. So now we should be able to set the hands to where at least the hour hand and the minute hand line up with each other. So a little piece of plastic bag and my hand removal levers. Let's see if we maybe take one hand off at a time, because they are pretty large. No, let's just go all the way under there. If we can. There you go. So we have the minute and the hour hand off, and now the little the good thing is that they are really large compared to other watches. All right, so those out of the way. Now the second hand, a little recessed from the rest here. There you go. All right, make sure we don't lose it. Still happily ticking away. Why do I still have that paper under there? Nobody knows. All right, and so the dial is held on with just those little bent over sheet metal tabs. So we're just gonna try to maybe use the screwdriver we already have here. Lever this off if we can. There we go. There. Go all the way around. There are a few of those. Okay. Let's take a quick look at the dial here. So from the top, it looks like it's painted. Bottom looks like aluminum, pressed aluminum. Has actually a couple dents in it that might have been caused by previous owners trying to remove hands. And I don't know if this is going to resist cleaning, but we're definitely going to try. You know, this is the time to experiment. So we're going to put this out of the way. And now we're going to look at the movement. So over here you can see, we're already losing parts. Okay, so there is a washer that pushes again. Oh, no. Let's make sure that Heiko knows how this all goes together. So I'm assuming it was like this. And then here is a washer that puts some pressure against the dial to keep it all in place. So we're taking this all away. So we can tip this over and just let it fall off. No, it doesn't want. Oh, here we go. Now here on the back, this is the crown wheel. And here's a little catch that holds the power or the tension in the mainspring. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to remove this, and then we should be able to unwind the mainspring power by holding onto our little winding stem or crown here. So let's see what we can do. Let's put it in a movement holder first. So switched it into a movement holder. I hope it's going to stay in here. Now we're going to try to let the power out. First time for me. So you guys are live there with me. So if I hold onto the crown, get the little thing out of the way, and then just gently let it slide through my fingers like so until it doesn't want to move anymore. There we go. So since we still have the locking mechanism that holds the winding stem and the crown in place open here, let me show you one more time. This little pin here falls immediately out or goes to the unlocked position when you turn the movement over like this. So that means that we are still able to just pull the crown and the winding stem out. Let's just start here from this side, okay? So everything is really large, so I can probably switch to my largest screwdriver, which is a 2.0. So this is pretty large. Let's take the little mainspring barrel bridge off and see what happens. Like I said, this is a no jewel movement. All right, so the mainspring should just be staying in its barrel. So here's the mainspring bridge, if you can call it a bridge. Maybe it's just a cover. See the griminess there? Mainspring in its barrel. The screws so far, they're all the same length, so that's pretty good. Alrighty. And now, let's see if we can take this entire thing off. Would be crazy, but oh, that's what it is. And I don't even know, maybe the hairspring and the... Ooh. Is this literally attached? Oh yeah. So... without destroying the hairspring, let's just grab it here real quick. Flip this over. So this is all one piece. The hairspring, the balance off. We're just gonna park this here somewhere safely. Here's the balance fork. There's the escape wheel. We're just gonna start taking parts out of the way. Is one. And I mean, even though it's a pocket watch, but the little axles of those wheels are very thin still, so you gotta make sure you don't bend anything. So here's the balance fork. That's crazy. And no jewels whatsoever. They're just little pins at the bottom. Right, here's the escape wheel. So far we haven't lost anything. Knock on wood. Alright, let's see. Can we get the mainspring out of here without taking the crown wheel off on the other side? Maybe I should have checked that before I took... let's just try. Let's just take it off. Ooh, it's coming all apart. It's not wanting to come off. So let's take a look. Ooh, we just lost something. Okay, we lost a piece of the winding works. Okay, so that's not too hard. That's not too difficult. Okay, I'm gonna park this together with the crown here and the winding stem. And a couple springs. There's definitely some springy stuff going on here. So the crown wheel on the other side, there's no screw whatsoever, so we should just be able to pull. Oh yeah, here we go. The mainspring barrel. Look at that. I'm trying to be organized, kind of still remember which part goes where, so we can get it back together afterwards. All right, and then, oop, something else fell. Oh yeah. The setting lever. So the setting lever over to the side. So far, so good. And I don't think we're going to be able to pull this off. No, because there's still a gear on the other side. So it appears that the center wheel and the Canon pinion, they're like one piece. So that little thing over here, right there, they don't want to separate. They might be pressed together. We might not be able to get this out. We just lost the ratchet wheel. So it's slowly disassembling itself, which is not good in a way. But we still have the ratchet click spring here. Let's see, is this even coming out at all? I mean, I don't want to bend, break, or destroy parts just because, yeah, I think it is kind of held in place here, and I think we're just gonna leave it there. So since we're talking about springs, here's still the setting lever spring that is still under tension right over here. So we're gonna try to remove that one. Let's see, without making it fly off. Oh, how are we gonna do that? So I'm gonna grab it and get it out of its tension position. Okay, that's it, huh? Okay, so we got it. There's a little boss here and then into this, and now we can remove it, the setting lever spring, without bending it, like so. And we're gonna put it with the rest of the winding works. So now we have another loose piece flopping around here. Let's take a look at the other side. Yeah. So this one here really, so this is the crown wheel. I kept calling the ratchet wheel the crown wheel. Forgive me for my ignorance. So the ratchet wheel is the one that sits on the other side of the movement, attached to the mainspring barrel. And then here's the crown wheel. And then there's a little intermediate wheel that interfaces with the winding works. So let's see if this allows us to separate here, because there are so many pieces that cannot be removed. They are permanently pressed on here. So here you can see the movement of the setting lever mechanism, but I don't see how. Maybe we can try to use my Canon pinion removal tool. But no, that's not coming off. This little Canon pinion really has anything to grab onto. There's absolutely nothing. So, unfortunately, this is all stuck on there. It's like the ends are pinned over so that you can't remove it, which is, I guess, something we have to live with. All this here does not want to be removed. Disassemble the mainspring barrel. Let's see if we can maybe leave the arbor in there and just move the spring out of the way. If we grab the arbor the other direction, it should unhook from the spring. And then once that's done, we should be able to pull it out, right? Oh, here we go. How are we going to get this out of here without having it fly through the room? So this mainspring here, that's going to be a pleasure to reinstall here. It's literally fighting me to come out of this. We got it unwound without breaking stuff, and it's still hooked onto the barrel here. Let's see if we can undo this. Yep. There we go. There is a mainspring and a barrel arbor and some dirt and grime. So I am assuming that we got this disassembled as far as we can. There are no more pieces that we can pull off. The rest is all pinned in position. Yeah, since I don't have a watch cleaning machine yet, but I do have a ultrasonic cleaner, we're just going to use little glass jars, then put the cleaner, which is in my case lighter fluid, into the jars, and then put the jars, including the parts and the lighter fluid, into my ultrasonic cleaner, which will be just filled with water. So, and like I said, I would like to keep them organized in groups of parts. So if you want to find out if your balance is installed, just blow some air at it. And so now it's swinging, and now I'm just going to grab my screwdriver and tighten up those screws a little more. And the balance should still be moving freely. So swapping containers one more time. The smaller you can keep your containers, the less of the cleaner you will need, which is, you know, more economical. Very unfortunate that it doesn't fit into my specifically purchased little glass jars, but this one here is going to do the job. All right, guys, so since the parts are in the parts washer cooking behind me, we're going to try to work on the dial a little bit. I just have a jar of water here and some wooden Q-tips. We'll see if that does anything, and we're going to be very gentle. I verified this is not a paper cover on this dial. It's actually painted, but we still don't know how resistant this paint is. So we're just going to pick a spot. Anything coming off? No, not really. That's crazy. So nothing is coming off. Not the fingerprint. Not the paint. Okay. So water isn't doing it. Let's move this out of the way. I'm going to grab some lighter fluid. So now I have a jar of lighter fluid sitting here. Let's see if we can do anything with that. I hope we're not going to remove the paint. The fingerprint is not coming off. It's really not. Let me try this a little harder here. Evaporates really fast. But it doesn't seem to take anything off either. So all this checkered stuff here, the leopard spots. Okay, so last option we have is IPA. Let me get some IPA. So now we have a 70% IPA here. Fresh Q-tip, dip. And let's see what that does. I hope it's not going to take everything off. I don't see anything coming off. What else can we try? Windex? No, there's nothing coming off. At least the black paint is not coming off either. All right, call me crazy now. I'm going to try a glass cleaner, automotive glass cleaner. It's clear. I'm just going to spray some here on the corner of my repair mat and try that. And now is the moment of truth. Ooh. Nothing is coming off of this thing. No. It's not cleaning up at all. So I think we might just have to leave it alone. So the next thing we can try to work on, I mean, this didn't help at all, but the next thing we can try to renovate a little bit is the case and the crystal. I don't know if I want to spend, you know, 20, 30 bucks on a new crystal for a $30 watch, but we can try and use some poly watch and see if that maybe helps with that discoloration, this yellowing. I don't know, but we shall find out here in a second. I guess Polywatch does not always work. Now it's all scratched up. No, it's worse than before. Alright guys, so the parts are back out of the parts washer. Still nice and warm. Here is the main plate. Let's see what we can see. Oop. Yeah, lots of little parts still attached. So we gotta really make sure we're gentle and careful. I got a little acid brush here. I'm gonna try to see if maybe mechanical, if any of those stains that are still on here will be removed by just scrubbing it a little bit. And then I would like to give this a bath in IPA. Yeah, that doesn't seem to do much at all. Okay, so we need to get a another jar. Ooh. And some IPA. The lighter fluid that those big parts were in there are actually pretty dirty, but I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to try to keep this in my little jars here and reuse it occasionally. As long as you do a rinse with IPA at the end of the day to get residual dirt that maybe has come off or come loose, you should be okay. Now I'm going to put the main plate back in the movement holder and then take the balance bridge, if you want to call it that, I don't know. Take it off so that I can get to the lower level of our main plate here and maybe clean that up a little more. But yeah, I definitely don't want to damage the hairspring there, so we gotta be very careful. And I also want to make sure we get the pivots for the balance clean. So here is the little pivot that the balance goes in. And I definitely want this to be clean. So we're just going to continue on, take all the little pieces, all the little wheels. I already got my little oil dispenser here filled with the lubricants that I'm going to be using. rinse, rinse, and repeat. And the barrel arbor. Okay. So we have all the parts out of lighter fluid, rinse with IPA. Now I'm gonna let this evaporate here, and then we're gonna reassemble. Hey guys, I've decided to cut this video right here. We're gonna turn it into a 2-part series. So we have finished part 1 with the complete disassembly, the complete cleaning of all the bits and pieces, and now we're gonna let the parts sit on the workbench until all the solvents have evaporated, and then we're gonna start fresh in part 2 with the assembly of this Montgomery Ward New Haven pocket watch. If you want to help out my channel, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.